would be a cute thumbnail if we don't have
I know. We need another.
We could do like
Oh no.
a jellyfish. No. Oh my gosh. Why would we do that? A jellyfish. Does Team Conrad even have a move?
Victory.
What? I don't remember that at all. What is it? Like a punch
volleyball.
in the air? Oh my gosh. Okay, no, what do we do? Fist bump. No, I said no jellyfish.
Okay, we'll just go like this. Like we're back.
Oh wait, maybe we do 3 and 4. Should I hold up 3 and you hold up 4?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's cute. Great. I think that's better than jellyfish. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Bekah, and here you can find bite-sized inspo mainly to do with Taylor Swift. We have started a new series on this channel where I'm doing sister chat with my sister Kayleigh.
Hi everyone!
And we are chatting all about The Summer I Turned Pretty. This episode we are covering episodes 3 and 4, the last 2 episodes to air on the show, and there's so much to talk about. So, should we dive right in?
Let's go for it.
Let's go! I was thinking just before we dive into the episodes themselves, did you have thoughts on the title of this episode? Episode 3 is called Last Supper.
Yes.
What were your thoughts on that even before you watched the episode when you first saw the title?
Yeah, I was surprised by the title because I had been thinking it would not necessarily focus as much on the after the memorial like moment, and it would be more about the memorial. So I was thinking it would be like Last Goodbye or something more to do with the Garden Memorial.
Yeah.
But when I saw the name, I was like, that is actually a perfect name for this as well, just because I knew that would be kind of a bombshell moment for this episode and the revelation that they are engaged, that they're getting married. So I thought it was very poignant. I also think a lot of these titles have like double meanings again.
Yeah.
And so like the Last Supper, like that is like a very common, phrase for kind of like things are gonna go down.
Yes. Yeah. I thought it was really interesting as well. And I immediately thought of kind of the religious connotations.
Sure.
And just how, in Christianity, that's such a pivotal moment of like the last gathering before things massively changed.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting too. Did you think of any other meanings for what that title could be signifying?
I mean, that was definitely what I also thought of originally.
Yeah.
I feel like that phrase has become like a larger phrase to be used before kind of like the calm before the storm sometimes. So that was kind of the sense that I got.
Yes.
And then I think it got me excited that like, okay, it will definitely be a main focal point of this episode.
Yes.
And I wasn't sure maybe how much it would focus on it.
Yeah.
How much the memorial would take up per se. So I was pleased with the title name, but it was not exactly the direction I thought it was going to go per se. But especially with the ending, which we'll get to, I think it's very fitting.
I agree exactly. Again, I was similar to you. I had thought that there would be a lot more focus on the memorial itself. I was a little bit surprised. I also thought this title was particularly interesting because something I've noticed just from this season is that I feel like a lot of the narrative is explored in pairings. I feel like a lot of time we only see 2 people on the screen. It's Belly and her brother, Belly and Jeremiah, Belly and Conrad. And I think this episode is kind of where we're starting to delve a little bit more out of that and bringing together a whole supper scene of a family around a table. I felt was more significant because we've had so many scenes throughout the last 3 episodes of just 2 people. What did you think about that?
Okay, actually that makes me think a lot about when I did see the title, and definitely after seeing the episode, it also reminded me a lot of the Gossip Girl episode, the Thanksgiving one.
Yes, yeah.
All the secrets
are coming out,
And I think when I saw the title, I was like, we're gonna get that energy, we're gonna get that level of drama.
Yeah.
And that was exciting.
Yeah. For sure. And I thought it was just a really clever way for Jenny Han to kind of disrupt this narrative of, oh, we have all of these scenes of just these 2 people, kind of more intimate scenes, and then like this explosion kind of happening with a group of people. I thought was really interesting. So kind of along those lines, I thought it would be interesting for us to explore these 2 episodes, episodes 3 and 4, through these pairings, and then we can kind of build up maybe to the Last Supper or that kind of thing.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome. So maybe we can start with Belly and Jeremiah because that's what the episode opens with, right?
Yes. So I will say I had been thinking going off of episode 2 that there would be a real proposal where he did have a ring and everything like that. I didn't know it would open with that scene. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised to hear Billy's song.
Yeah.
Just because I love that song, and I was actually anticipating that song might be a part of the season. I actually thought it was going to be used for one of Belly's like friendships, actually, with Taylor. I thought it was going to be, after they've kind of fought a little bit about the initial engagement surprise, they were going to use that song actually like for their friendship.
Yes.
And so I was not anticipating. But I do love that song, so cool that it was included. I don't know if I love that it was with Jeremiah, but that's fine.
Well, I think it's so interesting that you say that because I don't know that song as well as you do. I love it though, and I feel like the lyrics are very romantic, but I feel like I always have gotten friendship kind of vibes from that song.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, hearing that with Belly and Jeremiah, I was pleased. And I also just felt, even in these 2 episodes, still, I'm getting these kind of best friend vibes from the 2 of them. Even in that opening scene, I feel like there's a part where Belly says she's going to something and it's like besties only. Yeah. And Jeremiah says like, well, I'm your best friend. And I mean, that's very sweet. And obviously you want your significant other to be your best friend. But I'm like, interesting to emphasize that here right before, I don't know, with this song, with the soundtrack. I thought that was interesting.
That was interesting. I am glad that they got like a real proposal moment.
Yeah.
I think that as much of the internet has talked about
the ring.
I was zooming in a little trying to see it.
Yeah.
Also makes sense on his budget. Like, I get it. But honestly, the bracelet seemed to be more substantial than the ring. But it was a sweet moment for them. Like, I think it was good that it started with that.
Yeah.
Because I think it also made it less of a spur of the moment proposal. Like, there is intention behind it. Like, it wasn't, obviously they were not drunk when it happened, but like kind of in this like clouded mindset, this kind of felt like this is the next day. Actually, like, I've thought about this a little bit more and I still want to move forward with this.
Yeah. When do you think he got the ring? Do you think he had the ring before he proposed initially? Or before that moment in episode 2? Or do you think he had already had it?
Good question. I think it's, well, I'm kind of like, if you had it, why didn't you pull it out during the actual proposal?
That's what I think he got it after.
Perhaps.
But I don't know.
Perhaps, yeah. I don't know if it really changes that much because the ring itself, not that the ring needs to be huge or substantial. I think it's more, and it's interesting at the restaurant, how there's also, some discussion about how it's not like his mom's ring. And he didn't really like have like rights to the ring. Which kind of is tied also to like approval, like parental approval, all of that. And so I think it's less about, the ring size. It's just more like the meaning behind it and maybe the process that you went through in order to even get the ring. Because I would say if it had been Conrad, right, he would have talked to certain people beforehand.
Yeah.
But I think still like it is meaningful to them. So I don't want to discredit that. I think it was a nice moment. And it was a sweet moment.
I agree. I thought it was very sweet. I thought it was interesting that Jeremiah pulled out these glasses right before the proposal. I thought that joke was funny. I love that joke. I think that's hilarious. But I'm like, we haven't seen Jeremiah with glasses at all, have we? Have we ever seen him in glasses?
Trying to like age them up a little bit.
Okay, because that's interesting because I feel like they've used glasses to age them down, right? Like Belly and Conrad wear glasses when they're kids.
But I think they're trying to make him look a little bit,
maybe
a little bit more academic.
A little academic, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, he looks great with glasses. He does. Like, it's a good look for him. I was just like, it's kind of weird for you to be pulling on these glasses just for your proposal. Like, you're not reading anything. Like, what's going on here?
No, I think it was he needed the glasses.
He needed to find it. I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't think it was meant to be that comedic of a moment. And I've seen in some interviews now, I think that like the cast has been very diplomatic.
Yeah,
and they were saying like it was a sweet moment for those characters. Yeah, but from an external point of view, a little underwhelming.
A little bit underwhelming. Obviously, Belly loved it, right? She seemed super happy and surprised and like giddy about it, which is very sweet. So going into episode 4. Opening of episode 4, we get Jeremiah singing to Belly, right?
Yeah.
And he's singing happy birthday to her. It's her birthday. It's very sweet. But I thought it was very interesting that he gets like 3/4 of the way through the song and then he stops because I think he's feeling self-conscious in the work environment. People are around.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm reading too much into it. You can tell me if I am. But I felt like that was a little bit reflective of their kind of relationship dynamic. I don't know. I was like, is this a symbol that they won't make it? Is this...
Sure.
Right? Sure. Like, I feel like there's deeper layers here of, you know, he's very affected by what other people think. But, and like, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But like straight off the bat, episode 4, I was like, oh, Jeremiah, you can't follow through? Come on, man.
I thought it was more, and I've seen some discussion about this too, where he came, obviously he comes later with the cake, the Oreo cake. Yeah. I do wish that they had, I think it would have had bigger impact if they had previously actually solidified that that was like her favorite. Yeah. Like to me, I was like, that seems random. Yeah. And then he had flowers and people, I think a lot of people have been like, why didn't you bring flowers for Belly too? Like, like it was sweet. He brought it for Laurel. Obviously he wanted to talk to Laurel about it. You know, something that has been interesting, I think, is some of the moments with Jere in the book and some of the dialogue. And I think some people who were more Team Jeremiah have like noticed this online. I think some of those moments, they have been reworked in some cases, or slight details have actually been removed or given more to Conrad, actually. Yes. And I think this is interesting. To me, I feel like the portrayal of Jeremiah, like some of those sweet moments are actually missing, which also to me indicates that like Jenny is maybe trying to have a firmer conclusion with Conrad. But I think if you are on that team, that is like hard to see. Yeah. Just some of those moments that are maybe more thoughtful, are like playful moments, like that maybe people were anticipating haven't quite made it over. And I can see maybe why Jenny has done that to make it a little bit more concrete. I will say, going off of episode 1 and 2, I think we talked about the time jump last time. Yeah. I do think after episodes 3 and 4, I have more mixed feelings about the time jump now. Originally, I was like, oh, it gives a lot more legs to the Belly-Jeremiah relationship. I think that's still so true. But I think if you are together for like 4 years, I don't understand per se like the concern as much. They're obviously still very young, but I don't think it's like as wild of a notion because they've been together for a lot longer and they are like a little bit older. Yeah. And then I think same with Conrad. I'm like, all of this then is like, he's really been yearning for a long time.
It prolongs it.
It prolongs a lot of things. So I think in the first 2 episodes, I felt like it worked quite well because I was thinking about the relationship that Jeremiah and Belly have built. But now I think with the wedding and the rush, now I think some of those pieces, it doesn't quite feel as urgent to me too. It's like, why do you even need to get married this quickly?
Well, and this is my exact question throughout these 2 episodes especially. The parents are so concerned. Yeah. They have real concerns. They have real concerns and real legitimate reasons to be giving caution to these 2. Why can't they just wait a little bit longer? I feel like this is the question that is not answered to me very well yet in the show. I feel like in the book, I get it because there's a different storyline. But I think the book, I understood more of the urgency. Even though they were younger, it made more sense to me. Now I'm like, Laurel's asking for another semester. You know, like that's not that long. Like, what's the big deal? Why you have to rush it so much? I don't really get it.
So I think originally the proposal itself, I understood the urgency by introducing the car accident. I think that made a lot of sense. I think now with the pushback on the wedding plans themselves, it doesn't hold up quite as much in terms of like, why does it still need to happen right now? Yeah. It's possible. I think there could be other storylines that are added and we have more understanding in 2 or 3 more episodes. But I'm kind of with you right now where I think the storyline in the book, there are some reasons as to why it will kind of advance their relationship. But in the TV version, they're already there. Yeah. So I think it's a pretty big difference. Yeah. And originally I was not thinking that it would be as major of a difference, but now I'm feeling it more and I'm wondering maybe how they will approach that going forward.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think the Steven accident, as we talked about last episode, has been a major impetus or push into this. I think another thing that's been pulled up in these 2 episodes as well is kind of a response of Susanna's death.
Yes, and a reminder.
And a reminder of that. And this with the memorial happening and stuff, maybe that's top of mind. So I think Belly has used that a couple of times as reasons within these 2 episodes of why they're kind of wanting to do that. But I still, to me, it doesn't feel like, would it be so difficult to just wait a little bit longer?
Yeah, especially with the study abroad situation. I found that also to be like very disappointing because
so disappointing.
I do think that Jere's character, he is flawed. They're all flawed. I do feel like in the past he has been like a cheerleader of hers, though. Like, especially with volleyball. Like, he was encouraging her to do things that she enjoyed and was passionate about. Yeah. And so it is just disappointing to me that, like, the moment that she kind of is questioning that he would be like, actually, I didn't want you to do it at all.
I know.
And I don't want you to go. Yeah. And I hate it in rom-coms or TV shows when like the character like does not pursue their dreams or goals because of like a guy or a relationship. Yeah. And so I hated that. I actually hated that, but I understand why it was depicted that way. And I think it's just another reason why I think they're trying to show that this relationship is actually not like the healthiest for her. And she's really losing herself within the relationship, which is why I think You're Losing Me so interesting now, because I'm kind of like, actually, like, she's losing herself. She's actually lost herself. Which is another thing I've realized with the narration, which I think a lot of people have been talking about, which is in the book, you're hearing so much from Belly's perspective, of course, in her inner monologue. And typically, first 2 seasons, right, we got so much of her inner dialogue. Yeah. And we've been missing it. And I think that is very interesting because it's like she's lost herself, actually, so we don't even hear her thoughts. And I also think if we did hear her thoughts, as an audience, you would kind of know she's still questioning this even. Yes. And it would be too revealing that like Conrad is still on her mind. Yeah. So I think it's for multiple reasons that they're doing that. But I think one of them is like, not only, in that moment was like Jeremiah, like he was losing her. She actually has been losing herself this whole time in the relationship.
That is very insightful. And to be honest, I hadn't picked up so much on losing her narration because I think she has been doing a lot of voiceovers still. But I think you're right. Like, the voiceovers haven't really been about her and Jeremiah. Yeah. We haven't really gotten a lot of her insights into that relationship this season. We've gotten things about her and her father. Yeah. Like, other relationships in areas, or like her moving into college. Like, these kinds of things. But you're right. That has been missing. And I did feel, especially in the makeup scene. Yes. When she's getting ready. Yes. For the memorial. Yes. And that scene is done very, very well. But in the books, we get her inner monologue.
She's really thinking Conrad will be there.
She's doing all of that for Conrad, which is like, it's actually wild in the books. Like, the fact that she's thinking that is just not okay. Good. It's not good. It's not good at all. And I can understand why they took that out of the TV show, but it really changes the color of the scene, like everything that's going on. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah. And when I watched that scene, I was like, so interesting that they purposely removed that, and they're leaving it ambiguous, and they're not letting us into what she's thinking about either of these boys right now. I have felt throughout these episodes there's been this equal kind of footing of Belly and Jeremiah that I feel like shows that they kind of match each other, but they kind of match each other in like a lot of immature ways. It's not a way of like showing her growth. I thought even, and this is jumping a little bit, making fun of Conrad on her birthday and like knowing he's right there in the house, like so awful.
I know.
So immature and like, I hated that too.
I hated that as well. I also think though, it's like, they're obviously very hurt. So I think that they are pretty bonded in the fact that they've been through a lot of emotional things together and have leaned on one another in like a positive sense, but now it's become all encompassing where she's kind of like, who am I without this boy? And like, I can only imagine a future like with him a part of my life. And it's so codependent now. And they're kind of bringing out some of the less positive aspects of themselves, unfortunately. Yes. I think what's so interesting is, where Conrad talks to Jere and they go surfing and all of that. And he is saying, like, it's ridiculous. What's so interesting is, like, when Belly had that fight, actually, with Jeremiah, before Cabo, right? That's actually what Belly tells Jeremiah. Like, when he starts to make it a much bigger thing, and she's like, you're being ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're actually, like, you're being ridiculous. And so it's so interesting now that it's like, that's Conrad's take on their situation, and she's kind of like, oh, whoa, like, because now her and Jeremiah have, like, meshed into one, kind of.
Yeah.
And so it's so interesting because previously that was, like, her own analysis of Jere.
Yeah.
And now someone
it's
else
her
is saying it, and she's very defensive. And I think, was it really childish, obviously, for them to, like, be joking about it? Yes. I think they're just like hurt. It's getting quite challenging because now they also feel, you know, like, ostracized a little bit from their parents.
That's true.
Yeah. So I think it's all very tricky, but I do think, she has kind of lost her own sense of drive in some cases, like the fact that she kind of bended to that so easily. And I don't think she would have, per se, if some of those other relationships she did not feel like were so unsteady right now.
Yeah.
With her mom especially and things like that. I think she's kind of like, this is like the one person I can kind of depend on. And so maybe this is also why she does feel the need to rush.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to force it like
That's right. Okay. That's a lot on Belly Jeremiah. I would love to talk about Belly and Taylor. And I think we see a lot of this relationship even in these 2 episodes, especially when Belly goes to her and they kind of get like these 2 takes of the proposal reaction. What were your thoughts on these?
I mean, I loved how Taylor kept it real initially. I think that's in the book as well. Like, I think that initial reaction where if people in your life are telling you, multiple individuals are telling you, like, I'm a little worried, I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, maybe you should take note.
I think you should take some note. I think she was being real with her.
Yeah.
I think a good friend, like, will tell you things even when it's hard.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated, you know, Taylor, like, telling her initially. But I think she kind of knew, okay, if you're not, like, wavering on this, then I do want to, like, support you.
Yeah. I think she was super excited to be the first person that Belly told. And I think especially some of the insecurities that we saw earlier in the first couple episodes, like, to be solidified as, like, you are the one that I will share this with, you know, even before parents is really huge and obviously meaningful.
I was trying to figure out, you know, why are we getting so much backstory with her and her mom?
Yeah.
And I think for multiple reasons, actually, now. I think part of it, I think it is helpful to see, like, okay, with Laurel being very against the wedding, I think they wanted to provide more foundation. More foundation as to, like, why Lucinda gets involved with, like, the bridal shower later.
And the wedding dress
So I think that has made a lot more sense. And then I also think it's been in relation, obviously, to Stephen and Taylor's relationship.
I think so, too. And I think it also gives a lot more insight into Taylor and her hesitancies of entering relationships. Her fear of, I think I felt a little bit less sympathetic towards, you know, her feelings and fear towards Stephen, especially in the first episode.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of like, haven't we done this before? Like, we saw this last season.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, knowing more about this backstory, what she has seen with her mother and all of that, I think it makes it more understandable.
I think they wanted to, have, like, a maternal character.
Yeah.
Like, as Belly is kind of, like, missing maybe, like, her mom's support initially.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that you've used motherly figure for Lucinda quite a bit, because I agree with you absolutely on those points, but I also feel like they've introduced this aspect to Taylor that is new, of Taylor mothering her mother.
Absolutely.
And her having to step up and be the responsible one.
Yes.
And that's I feel like it's a bit of a different light to see Taylor in, and that adds, like, a whole new layer to her character. And it's very interesting to see her kind of taking care of her mother, but then also I've really liked this parallel of Lucinda trying to step in and help her. I liked the fact that she's wanting to be involved in Taylor's life. And then I think we see similarly the way Laurel mothers Stephen. There's, on the sense of both of them, like, some guilt or something on both of their sides, of Laurel not having been there when she felt like she should have, so now I'm trying to compensate. And maybe similarly Lucinda, like, I wasn't there for Taylor when I should have been, so I'm going to try to compensate now. I don't know if the way they're compensating is the best way to go about it, but I appreciate that there's this desire to be really involved and, like, just to be there for them. And I feel like that's a kind of interesting parallel that we see with Taylor and Stephen and, like, the mother involvement on that. Because I feel like then on the flip side, Laurel with Belly, you know, she's she doesn't want to be involved because she doesn't approve of what's going on. And so she's kind of removing herself from that situation. It's just quite interesting, these different parallels we get and the contrast. You know what I mean?
I think so. Taylor has had to take on such a parental burden as well. Honestly, all of the kids, I think it's been interesting to explore the parents a little bit more.
Yes.
Obviously, like, no parent is perfect, but I think there's a lot of the kids have had to take on and bear.
Yeah.
And that's been really challenging. And so I also think that informs maybe why, like, some of their current decisions, like, I think it allows you to have more empathy.
I agree.
Even Jere, like, I will go back to Jere in terms of, I do think even in the book, I felt this way where he really did step up when Susanna was so sick. And it's just interesting because he was so young at the time. He actually bore a lot of responsibility. And then now he's really depicted as, like, being so
very
irresponsible. And so it is interesting to me because I'm like, well, actually, like, in the past, he has shown to be really responsible.
Yeah.
And he has really stepped up. And so in some cases, I'm like, maybe it is a little inconsistent portrayal of his character. And maybe actually his character, like, deserved a little bit better in terms of, like, how he is being portrayed. But I think it also is maybe to have the stark contrast. So I get it.
Yeah. I felt even in the show in last season, he was portrayed a lot differently than he is now. I think it's why it's such a shock.
It's a bit of a shock. To me, this is a Hunger Games situation. Like, I say this sometimes where, you know, I think sometimes one character, in order to kind of really construct the storyline for the main couple to end up together, sometimes the other character
has to suffer.
Yeah. I don't always love that because sometimes I think you can keep that character's quality, you know, and still have the main couple end up together per se.
Yeah.
So that is my one bit on that. I do think it's already in the book, so it's not like a huge stray from the book. But I do think in some rom-coms and things like that, it's not like that the second choice, like, the second choice is kind of removed.
Yeah.
You know, for other reasons as well.
Yeah.
If the whole cheating storyline had not gone on, I would still actually want Belly with Conrad. And it could be nice actually to not have, like, the cheating storyline.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is, like, one point I want to make. Also heartbreaking, I think that Taylor was not able to go to New York. Like, I think that was a really...
These are the kinds of things where it's like the kids are having to be, you know, older beyond their years, acting as parents over their parents in some ways. Yeah, that was really sad.
That was really sad because I also think, like, she was so excited about that. And I think this is also why I don't want to compare these so much so, but the fact that it was like Taylor had to give up that opportunity because of her love for her mom, and, like, Belly has this opportunity to go to Paris, and, like, she's trying to give that up when she doesn't have to, like, in the same manner. That really irks me because it's like Belly could go.
I agree completely, and this is what I mean. I feel like there's so many characters who are being given these storylines of maturity, and I think Belly and Jeremiah are being portrayed as being pretty immature, because I think in light of Taylor making this move, giving up all of this, and basically helping her mother, like, save her business, and then here's Belly being so unwilling to even make any compromise in, you know, listening to her parents' advice, and like, them asking for just a little bit, like, take a little bit more time, and you're so reluctant and, like, reticent to do anything. There couldn't even be a tiny bit of give here. It just, it comes across to me as kind of belligerent and childish.
It's hard though because I want to be empathetic of both characters. I think Laurel has not always been, like, the most supportive.
It's true.
Mom. Right. In some cases, there's been friction in the past with Belly as well. And I think it's really hard when she's, like, obviously imagined all of these things with her mom being by her side, and her mom's kind of, like, point blank, like, I'm not gonna be there. Like, that's really hard. I will say I like how they have softened it. Even for her birthday, I felt like it felt to me like Laurel still loves Belly. Like, they still had a relationship. It's just she was making it clear on this point, I will not support you. I think in the books it was, like, more murky, where it felt like silent treatment, almost like they almost felt like Rory and Lorelai from Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
And that's still kind of how I feel, where
Yeah.
it's like there's a lot of distance right now. But I feel like they have softened it for the TV adaptation, which I appreciate, where it still feels clear that she loves her. And she has just explained why she can't get behind it.
Yeah.
And it's more like, from my perspective, I've lived life. I got married early. I don't want you to make those same decisions.
Yeah.
But I have empathy for both, Laura. Like, obviously she is trying her best to look out for her daughter. Again, though, like some of the execution, it is hurtful. I feel like Belly just feels very isolated.
Yeah.
So I see it on both fronts, and I think that Belly has been childlike in many ways, but also she was just at the hospital without both of her parents dealing with her brother, having a major accident. So it's like sometimes.
Yes, and I do agree. Like, I appreciated that episode 4, she's going out and working, and, she's busting her butt, trying to raise money to pay for this wedding. So I don't mean to completely be down on her. Like, I think she is trying to do some things. I just feel like in the situation, as you were talking about earlier, I don't feel like there's a good reason for rushing it. So I'm like,
that's the problem.
I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, you can't just wait, half a year longer to appease your mother, and then she would be so much more willing to like can't we both compromise a tiny bit?
But see, this is why I'm like, maybe the real reason again is like, if she doesn't do it now, she won't do it. This, honestly, I'm telling you, this is...
That's it.
This is another show, Heart of Dixie.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Have you ever seen that show?
I actually just started watching it.
Excellent. Okay, wait.
It's fine. I'm only like, five episodes in, but it's fine. Go ahead. Okay, I don't mind.
Well, essentially, there's one plot line, it is in season 1, where like there's a wedding that needs to be had. And the main guy in the wedding is kind of like, if we literally don't have it today, I won't go through with it.
Yeah. Okay, I feel like I know exactly what you're talking about.
Sorry.
No, it's good. This is my hope anyways.
Is that, like, Belly's kind of like, if I don't do this ASAP, like, I am going to think about it more, and I will not go through with it. Like, I'm almost like in the back of her head, is that there? She's just not able to, like, come to face with that.
I think you're right. And that's like such not a good reason.
Not a good reason.
Not a good reason. You should not get married if that is your reason.
Yes.
But
yes. And I also think
you're right.
She has found Jeremiah obviously to be a place of support and comfort. But this is why it's so confusing to me, because I'm like, I would understand that sans the cheating storyline.
Yes.
Obviously with the cheating storyline in there, I'm like, And you know what's going to be... What is wild to me is, like, this is the response with everyone thinking they've been together in a committed relationship for 4 years.
Nobody even knows.
No one even knows. So the anger that Laurel, like, I cannot even...
And the anger that Conrad...
Yeah. So it's going to be explosive.
Yeah. We thought The Last Supper was explosive. My gosh.
If this is the feelings that people have right now and they don't even know,
whoa. Yeah.
And Belly does know. So this is the thing. Like, she's not...
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense.
Okay, do you have any other feelings about the parents in general?
Yes, I was going to say, I did really appreciate the birthday surprise.
Yes.
I thought that was really lovely. I thought that was really sweet, especially given that we had such an explosive scene in the previous episode.
I really had thought she was going to come downstairs and there'd be nothing.
That would be so sad. And then all like, too well, it's supposed to be fun turning 21.
Literally, I had that pictured in my head, and then she was gonna be like sobbing, and I was like, oh my gosh. I thought it was gonna be, they haven't talked in like a week. Like,
yeah.
But the fact that like they both came,
they both did together,
they showed up. This is a moment where I was like, it's bigger than this situation.
Yes.
They did show up. I really appreciated that. Obviously, then they started to talk about the wedding. Yeah, and that was sad.
Yeah, it was sad, but I wasn't picturing quite as dramatic as you, but I had thought. I hadn't thought something like this would happen, and I thought that was really sweet that it did. And I loved the callbacks to just like, that her mother makes her these Mickey Mouse shaped pancakes every birthday, and she did it again, and it's really sweet. It's really showing like Laura wanting to be that motherly figure for her.
Yeah.
And I loved that her two parents came together to do it, because I don't know how much John has really done that in the past, you know?
Yeah, I think it's been interesting. Obviously, they were kind of like, we can never have that hotel situation again.
I know,
I think, you know, they will still
something's
end up
happening.
together.
Yeah,
but I think it's been interesting how he came to Laurel later and was kind of like, you know, I've heard from Belly, now she's at Cousins. Like, I want to talk more about this. Like, I understand and respect your decision, but like, if our daughter gets married, like, I'm going to be there.
Yes.
I thought that was interesting too.
I did too. I thought it was thoughtful the way that it played out of Laurel's kind of rejection. Because I agree, like you say, you know, it's good to see both sides. And I think Laurel's in a really hard spot.
Yeah.
I think she's just kind of hoping it won't get to that point.
I think she was,
you know?
Yes, I think she was kind of like, obviously, if I say I'm not going to be there, she won't go through with it.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that, like, she is still planning. So then it's, like, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I think she very much felt like, okay, like, this is going to, by taking this stand, it will help it, you know, to not go through.
Yeah.
But, like, it is still proceeding.
Yeah.
So then if that's the case, you know, and we'll see that she will come more around.
Yeah.
But I think that was very interesting. I think also, like, Jeremiah coming to talk to Laurel, I will say when she said, you know, you've always wanted me as, like, a son-in-law.
Yeah.
And then she was like, not like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was, like, very consistent. But I think her saying about, like, Susanna would have wanted this and then, well, she's not here.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was pretty brutal.
It is brutal. It is brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really hard because you're kind of like, this is still pretty recent from the Garden Memorial as well.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
I don't know. I think, like, I understand why she said that, but I still think the moment, that was hard.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think I agree with you on the time jump thing because I do think it being like 4 years now, like, what do you expect? Just like, this is the trajectory they're going in.
Isn't that
you know?
shocking? Like, have you never actually thought about it? I think it's more, I understand, like, waiting until, you know, Belly's
done with school. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think some of the reasoning in the book, because in the book they actually have more of like a compromise or kind of like you can move in together, like, is that enough?
Yeah.
And so I think that it is pretty different because the circumstances are different in this TV world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me. But yeah, I think the birthday was really nicely done. And I thought the way that led into saying she wouldn't go wedding dress shopping. And,
I know.
And I think like, I don't know, it like hurt me that had to happen on her birthday.
Sure. Didn't she say like she always spent her birthday
at Cousins?
So this was like the first time.
Not there. Presumably.
Yes.
I guess we don't know for sure because we haven't seen the last few years.
I think they mention that and they don't like fully flesh that out, but you know that. And so in the back of your head, you're kind of like, she's taking more shifts on her birthday.
Yeah.
Like there's no one to really support her. So I think honestly, like Taylor coming with her mom, like that was huge.
Yeah.
And I think that whole scene of her, you know, dress shopping, that was very interesting. I think some people have pointed out, we should look back at like the screenshots that like
the purple dress
that it's not the same as her prom dress.
To me, it looked slightly different, but it did have a likeness.
Like a callback. Maybe
for
a
sure.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that whole sequence, like, I'm really glad she didn't have to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Me too. And I thought it was really sweet of Taylor and her mother to kind of take on those roles of kind of like motherly figure, like you said, and like maid of honor, best friend.
Hard though with everything else going on too though. Because I'm kind of like, this is important, but also you need
your business is falling apart.
like, do you have time for this?
Yeah.
Maybe it should just be Taylor.
Yeah. So, I did think that as well.
It was very sweet how much Steven is like still trying to help. Obviously, he cares so much. The fact that he was willing to donate like
his own money.
Yeah. He's a sweet boy.
He's a sweetie.
But it's also a lot. Like I think, you know, from Taylor's perspective, she's really very much like, you know, I can't accept this.
Well, and it's confusing, really isn't it? Because he's the one who kind of shut her down after she was literally about to like confess her love for him.
Yeah.
And so for him to be acting in this way, I think is really confusing and difficult. And for her to be like, I need to protect myself.
Totally.
Makes sense.
It does. I mean, that's a boyfriend move.
Yeah.
That's not even a boyfriend move. That's a husband move.
Like,
oh my gosh, that's wild. He was really
so wild.
I was not expecting him to call again. Like
no.
Yeah.
Maybe we could explore a little bit more of Adam's character because I think along those lines, I do think the one thing that has made me feel a lot more for Jeremiah this season, where I think he is portrayed pretty badly throughout the season, but I am like, he's put through a lot by his father, and they're really pushing that aspect. His dad is insufferable in this season especially, and the way that he is treated is so starkly unfair. I get such Denethor vibes from him, because another Lord of the Rings reference, but I mean, Denethor in Lord of the Rings is his father, and he has 2 sons, and he so clearly favors the elder one, and whatever the second son does, never, ever, ever good enough, can never measure up. And that's exactly the vibes I'm getting from Adam in the show. It's pretty, like, some of the things he says are just awful.
During the Last Supper, so let's talk a little bit about the Last Supper.
Go on.
Yeah, I think there were some comments that were made that are consistent with the book, but even more dramatic. I think what's really challenging is, like, he's created such a competitive environment. And this is because, Jere has messed up. He's a super senior, whatever. Like, I think it was very cruel in that moment when they went around. I cannot believe they went around.
That, like, I couldn't believe it either. It's like, we'll say glowing things about every child except for Jeremiah.
That was really harsh.
That was awful.
I think that was very interesting because, you know, when they're on the car ride over to the restaurant, they kind of talk in the car about how, like, maybe this is not the right moment to actually...
Belly and Jeremiah talk.
Belly and Jeremiah talk about how, actually, you know, we've been waiting to announce to everyone, but, like, let's actually make this day maybe about Susanna.
Yes,
like,
and I was, like, totally on board.
I was like, nice idea.
Maturity, thank you,
But in the book, what's interesting is that it's Jere who's really pushing at the dinner to reveal that actually they're engaged. And it talks
and in
about
the book, is he the one who actually does share?
Yeah. So in the book, it's like Belly has a statement where she's kind of like, I almost wanted to, like, quell him from, you know, I wanted to stop him from saying anything.
Yeah.
But I think it's really interesting in this iteration, it's really Belly who wants to share because she wants to defend Jeremiah. Because who else is defending him?
No one else is.
So I actually do like that change in the fact that, like, I think they had felt like this is not the right moment. Like, she wanted to share something positive. She wanted to show, like, he does have direction. I didn't love how they all, like, really, like, I think, again, he has had missteps. It was not the right environment, especially after the memorial when he had just spoken. You know, and that was a big thing for him.
Adam had even given him, like, a real look of pride during that. Like, he stepped up, he did it, and Adam looked proud of him. And I didn't really understand why it was necessary. And I thought even the dig of, like, when Laurel... I don't know why Laurel, because Laurel, like, literally tells Stephen, thank you for saving me that extra semester at Princeton.
I thought those parents,
and I was like, could you be a little more sympathetic, like, knowing what has just happened? And then Adam's going straight in there. Like, it's just there's a time and a place, and this was not the time or the place.
It was not the time or the place, and I just think, again, the contrast with, like, how glowingly they were talking about Conrad. Like, that really hurts. And so I understand why in that moment, Belly was like, I want to protect, like, this person that I really care about and really love, and like, he's really getting hounded, and this is, like, such a hard day. Again, I don't love that they, like, made it all about them. Like, this is, like, the second time that it's kind of overshadowed maybe, like, what the day should have been. But it's really hard. Like, in that moment, I understood why she revealed. And I kind of like the reveal better, actually.
I agree completely, because for a moment I thought Jeremiah was going to be the one to speak up, because my memory from the book was that he was the one too, and I was like, Jeremiah, like, don't do it. Like, I was getting mad at him preemptively. And then when Belly did it, and then he actually tried to stop her, and I was like, okay, respect. Like, I do appreciate that. Like, he was even like, it's okay. And I was like, that's, like, good for you, man. I understand Belly's sentiments, but I'm also like,
I know,
you should know better. Like, this is not going to win them to your side, doing it this way.
Like, and I think also that moment with her dad, like, in the car before her, there were all these moments where I was like, you should have told them one-on-one. Even with Steven, I'm like, you needed to have told all these people one-on-one. It was a horrible idea to get them all together. Like, that actually is the worst.
It was the worst. Execution. And I think it's because that's the way it's traditionally done, right? You often do a announcement when you get engaged to, and then you, like, want to share it with everyone in one big thing. That's understandable. So maybe they're just trying to follow a plot line, you know, of what they've seen and what is traditionally done. But literally throughout the whole episode, constantly they're saying, like, Laurel's going to go crazy when she hears this. Like, she's going to be so mad. Like, no one's going to be for this. So why would you think that in this setting when you sit down and they've already been talking Jeremiah down. Like, how is this going to convince Adam that he's responsible and going somewhere? Like,
I can't tell was also like the restaurant setting. They were like, this will cause them to have to be more polite about it.
Okay,
but not the case.
Yeah, not the case. Not at all.
I will say, okay, wait, let's
backing up.
Let's go back to the memorial itself, the Garden Memorial. And you see, now you can look back. I didn't notice immediately, but you can see Conrad in the back.
Yes.
Like, as Jeremiah is giving the speech.
Yeah.
And then, obviously they have their glance and kind of their moment of seeing each other for a long time. It's been a long time. And then obviously him being at the restaurant and then, I hated that actually there were moments where Jeremiah really wanted to preemptively tell Conrad. Yeah. And then Belly was like, no, shut it down. And he had to also find out that way. Like, I think that was the worst of it all.
It's just, there's no thought. It's just the thoughtlessness all around. Yes. Like, people just think about others, please.
And what's so sad, too, is, like, if you go back to the earlier episodes and Conrad's talking to his therapist about, like, what an ideal day and what the worst day would look like, And it's like, obviously, this is beyond his imagination of what the worst day could have been.
Who could even imagine? So
I think that's really...
Poor man.
Yeah, that's really brutal.
So brutal. And he's already, like, I think for him also, the situation of he's just flown on this red eye. He's like tackling his greatest fears here.
A
lot of trepidation. Yeah. And then he's walking in. He's already feeling bad because he's been fired from his job. And his dad is here playing him up. And he's feeling like, I'm not even competent. Like, I haven't even been living up to this. And then on top of all of that, the love of my life is now engaged to my brother.
Yeah, my worst fears have come true. I will say that's a great point that you just made too, though, about like Adam. Like, it's so unfair to Jeremiah, but it's also so unfair to Conrad.
Yeah.
Because you put him on such a pedestal and you expect him to be perfect. Yeah. And it's like, he made this one small error, he lost his job, and now he doesn't even feel like he can tell everyone because he's embarrassed because, his father does think so highly of him. And everyone is like, you have this fancy doctor job, you're at Stanford, like, you're perfect. And he's like, I'm just human too. Like, I can't be as, forward with all my struggles and challenges. And this is why this whole time he hasn't been able to be that open with Belly as well. Yeah. It's like the crux of the matter. It's like he has to be the stronger one sometimes. He has to have it all together when he really does it. And he has to put on this, more confident, like, facade.
Yeah.
That is just as challenging.
I absolutely agree.
So I do think compared to the book, Conrad and Jeremiah actually have, even though there's distance, obviously, Conrad has been in California, like, there is foundation in terms of their brotherly, like, relationship. Yeah. And it does seem like Jeremiah, like, he really does care.
Yeah. I think so, too. And I was thinking about that because I feel like, given the dynamic we get between these two brothers, the kind of competition that they're pitted against each other, especially with their father, and the way that he treats them, it would be very understandable for Jeremiah to not feel that kind of level of love and generosity towards his brother, but it still feels like he really looks up to Conrad. He has like a respect for him, a love for him, even though he's constantly being compared to him, put down against him. Yeah. So I admired that about Jeremiah, like the fact that he's still able to like look at his brother with love and affection, even though like presumably his whole life he's lived in his shadow. Like that would be really hard
and vice versa too, I think. Yes. I think I've been impressed by how that has been portrayed. Because I thought perhaps there could be a little bit more friction that they would lean into. Yeah. But obviously I think Conrad feels very torn and heartbroken about all of this, but he's still, especially in episode 4, like willing to like support and kind of step up. Yeah. And so I think that is sweet how they have kind of address that and approach that.
I agree.
And okay, I do want to make a quick callback also to the Garden Memorial.
Oh yeah.
With Mr. Fisher, obviously. Yeah. I think this was interesting too, how he was like
little sister.
And I think that was interesting again to just show like how absent he's been.
Yes.
Because I'm like, does he even know that they dated?
I feel like there's no way he can't know, but maybe he doesn't.
Maybe he doesn't. They were not together for that long. Obviously, this is a huge like, for their entire lives.
Yeah. But like, yeah,
Really?
like surely
They were together for 5 months, 6
couldn't he have known that Belly says early on in the show, like everyone knew she had a crush on him her whole life.
Yeah, but maybe
So
we didn't know it was
surely-
reciprocated. And I just think that comment too, I was like, insane.
So out of touch.
Insane.
So out of touch.
So he said a lot of hurtful things to Jeremiah, but I was like, even that, like, that's not helpful for Conrad.
Dagger in the heart.
So I did want
Poor Conrad. Yeah. No.
That was
pretty much anything coming out of his mouth. I was like, why are you talking, sir?
Yeah.
Like,
that was
it's
wild.
better if you don't say anything at all.
And I think for his character, I'm really interested to see what's going to play out, because another moment that I was shocked about is when Jere he has started working in the office, right? And he says hi to Kayleigh.
I wanted to talk to you about this.
They reveal is like the receptionist. And as we know, Conrad had found out that Kayleigh had an affair with Mr. Fisher while Susanna was battling cancer. Yes. But the whole thing is that Jeremiah, we presumably doesn't know. Yeah. So my thought and my theory is that now that he's working there for the summer, he's going to find out.
Yeah.
Right? And I am wondering how this is all going to play into the wedding and maybe Jeremiah's feelings with his father, because presumably maybe his father will be taking more of an active role in the wedding, like paying for it and stuff. Yeah. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to work out.
I am too.
Maybe he will pay for the wedding and then Jeremiah finds out, and then there's going to be a bombshell moment with them too.
Yeah. That was crazy. Yeah. And their interaction was weird.
Well, I think it seemed like he had like a very positive.
Yeah.
No, and I think that was supposed to be on purpose to kind of harken back to the fact that he doesn't know.
It could
that
be,
like she seems like a really like nice, sunny. I mean, she was kind of flirty, which was weird.
Well, this is what I was like. She was flirty with him.
Yeah,
and I was like, I was just like, I don't know. I didn't like any of it. For her to be like, it's just gross. Yeah. For you to be flirty with the son, like. It's just gross.
I'm wondering if Denise is gonna tell her.
Oh my god!
Like she seems to really be in the know.
She is in the know. You're right. She would
have theories. Like she's really perceptive.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see. But I'm scared.
I'm scared too. Yeah. So that was crazy. That moment.
I think that was pretty crazy. And then I think, let's talk about the climax moment. Obviously, where in the book, actually, it's Conrad actually leaves first. He leaves in a car, then the others leave.
Yeah.
I think they made it 10 times more heartbreaking that obviously they all leave and he's just standing there. And you're like, this boy just came from California. Literally no one is there. Like even Adam, like what the heck? Like
yeah.
That's really cruel.
That scene is so heartbreaking. Haunting. And I find it so interesting that Jenny has created all of these moments of kind of crossroads in these episodes. I felt like in these two especially, I thought that was a pivotal one of where you see Belly driving off in one direction, Jeremiah driving off in the other, and Conrad right there in the middle, in between them, all by himself, and left alone. And I thought the choice of music, perfect. Everything about it was absolutely so well done, but just the most devastating thing ever.
Very devastating. I already knew, this flashpoint moment would be really brutal for him. Obviously, finding out in that situation or finding out in general would be really painful. But I did not imagine that he would just be left, in distress and just no one there to kind of check up on him.
Yeah.
And so this is why, I really do love that they introduced Agnes, that for the next episode, she's checking in on him.
Yeah.
He needs someone.
He does.
But it does make me also question, I'm not really sure. I had really thought Agnes there could be some type of romantic.
You had said, yeah.
Plotline. To me, the way that they're writing it now, it feels like that was squarely in the past per se.
I think so.
Now it just feels like it's too far that they wouldn't introduce that, and it's just gonna be such a source of comfort and and honestly it's so big of her because she basically, let's talk about where she revealed that she was in love with him. She's so mature and she's kind of you know about unrequited love?
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah.
Because
look at what I am doing for you right now. I find that
huge.
so, it's huge. I think it's so refreshing. I think Conrad being such a closed off character for so long, for him to become best friends with someone who is as open as she is so big for him. I think for him to see that example, and I think I never really wanted them to go back to that exploring the romance again, because I love so much the friendship that they've been able to develop. And I think it's been so important for him and helping him, because she's the one who pushes him to go.
Exactly.
He was firmly decided not going to go. And she was like, exposure therapy, get out there, suck it up, and do it.
Yeah.
Like, look, this is what I have done. I have sucked it up, and look at us now, you know? Unfortunately for him, like, the outcome was so bad. But I did think, like, wow, for her to give him that push, for him to take it and to go, like drop of a hat, like
it's a huge leap for him.
Huge.
Yeah. I will say, I don't think they're going to explore the same romantic plot line that I thought they were going to. I could still see her coming to the wedding, actually, as like a support mechanism, and then Belly maybe like seeing them, and that also,
and that being an impetus for her to like
a little bit. I don't think that would be the full impetus, but I could see that. Like I would be surprised if we don't get more Agnes other than like phone calls, because I feel like they really made a point of like introducing her early on. And I think it would make sense that like he would need someone, but I don't know. I'm still questioning kind of what the Agnes storyline will turn out to be. I think in the books, actually, like they did date. It's just that she asked actually if like he loved her, and she was like, I think you're still in love with Jelly.
Yeah.
So they definitely did have like a little bit more of a substantial like romantic relationship. I think for this one, they introduced it more as like there was a moment, there was a chance, but Conrad kind of shut it down, and now they're very good friends. So could they still open it back up? Maybe a little bit, but I think now it's too far in that they wouldn't do that. Okay, so let's talk about some other like flashpoint moments maybe in the next episode, in episode 4. So the title for episode 4 was called Last Stand. And I'm trying to still kind of figure out why it was called that.
Me too. It's hard. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly what it's talking about.
Okay, I'm thinking it could be multiple things. And one, interesting, if this is how they're connecting it, it could be like the last stand for Taylor and her mom in terms of like saving the business, which is interesting. I wouldn't necessarily think that the title would be talking about their situation. But it's like kind of their last stand.
But it is,
And then last stand of like Jeremiah and Belly versus the parents.
Trying to get family on board.
Although I'm like, is this the last stand? Like, there's still some time.
I don't know. I think what I'm thinking, and I'm only thinking it because the last scene was so important. I feel like maybe it's to do with Conrad, but I think it's, but I don't know. This is me workshopping as we talk. Because I feel like what he does at the end of the episode is so huge. Like, to me, that's like all I think about when I think about that episode now. And I think it's interesting because in my mind, like, Last Stand, if I just read that title, I would be like, oh, this is Conrad's last stand to like win Belly back. But actually what he does is the opposite in the episode. And that's like so meaningful.
It's actually more loving.
It's more loving. I think it's so important that he was like literally about to up and leave. You know, he's like going out the door, all packed and ready, and then he sees her crying, and then he just about faces and basically becomes everything that she's looking for, right? Like, he's the one who steps up, and when her whole family and everyone is against her, he's like, I am going to become Jeremiah's best man. I am going to support this wedding even though no one else is supporting it. I am going to bake you baked goods to remind you that I'll always remember your birthday. Like, I'm going to be there for you even though it's killing me inside. And even his last phrase at the end when he says, what have I done?
I know. And it's a callback to what she has said in the past. In an earlier season, she actually has a phrase where she goes, what have I done? So I was like, whoa, that parallel's pretty wild.
Crazy.
I think you're right. I think I would have thought that would be the next title then.
Yes.
You know, but maybe you're right. It's so highlighting kind of the last moment of the whole episode to be like, he's about to take his last stand now.
Maybe. I only think of it because it's almost the opposite of what, you know, if you want him to go and take a last stand to try to win her back, but actually he's not, and he's like, the girl I love, this is what she wants, so I'm going to do what she wants.
Yeah.
And it's so selfless.
Yeah.
And I think in the midst of kind of Belly and Jeremiah coming across as pretty selfish in these episodes of like, you know, obviously so hurtful that people aren't supporting them and with them, but they're also not willing to give at all. You know, they're like, we want what we want and we want it when we want it. And here Conrad is like, I'm not going to get anything I want, but I'm still going to support you.
Okay,
so sweet.
I think you're right. So maybe it's actually a combination also of Laurel, like that was her last stand against Belly.
Yes.
That was like her last
too.
chess piece.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's still not enough to prevent the wedding. And then it's Conrad's, you would think potentially this would be like his last chance to kind of butt in, but instead he does what
instead he
Belly
bows
actually
out.
needs. Instead he bows out. So I think maybe it's a combination of those three things.
Maybe, yeah.
But let's talk about the episode more in general because obviously like throughout the episode we kind of see Belly, she's starting to reflect more on like her mom not being a part of this process. And you can see that it's starting to weigh on her.
Yeah.
Her like crying in her room, especially.
Oh, yes. I was going to say before that, even calling Jeremiah and she's crying on the phone to him about like, how are we supposed to do it without both of our mothers?
Yes.
I think that's quite poignant because, you know, like Susanna's dead. So obviously she can't be part of it, but Laurel is alive. And like, even then Belly feels like we don't have her, you know?
I think the flashback of Belly as a child, I was not anticipating that at all. That was very heartbreaking. I'm really glad they're doing more flashbacks. I would like to actually see more flashbacks, hopefully. But I think it really did again bring up that moment we were kind of like, she never imagined like getting married without Susanna. And then now to get married without both Susanna and her mom, like that. She's already experiencing the loss of not having Susanna there, of course.
Yes.
But then this is like just another. I think that was like a really touching, important sequence that they added in there.
I was absolutely shook when we heard Conrad's inner monologue because we haven't heard him do a voiceover in this whole show until now. And we've gotten loads of Belly voiceover. Totally understandable. Last season, we got Jeremiah voiceover, right? Like, we got some of Jeremiah's inner monologue. But we've never really heard Conrad. And I felt like that's been very deliberate because Conrad's so closed off. Like, we don't know Conrad because he won't share anything with us. And then he's, like, suddenly dripped in this tiny little thought that's going to change everything.
That was shocking. So I think that we knew that there was going to be an episode that Conrad
was going to monologue.
Would monologue. I did not anticipate that this episode would have the start of it. So that was shocking to me as well. I was like, I'm getting ready for the next episode to hear him, but I didn't think he was already going to have the segue. I thought that was really well done.
So well done.
Very powerful. And I think, again, like Belly is an unreliable narrator. I think this is another thing that's like important to talk about because it's like we're only seeing it again through her lens. So many of the times I'm like, okay, she is a lot of Conrad's, you know, action. She's not realizing the depth of it. You know? And so,
or she's misinterpreting things, or even kind of rewriting some things for herself. Like when she tells Susanna, like, he broke up with me, and it's like, girlfriend, no, you broke up with him. But there's a lot of layers and all these things. But it's like some things she's even telling herself aren't quite reliable.
And so I am so excited to hear from Conrad's perspective. I was not anticipating to already get that one line, and that was like heartbreaking. You know, I honestly think Jeremiah and Belly kind of joking and him witnessing that, I think he was kind of like, I can put this to bed. Like, I can close this off. I'll go back to California. Like, I can put this out of my head, actually. But then obviously hearing her cry and like realizing how much he still cares, like, and he's kind of like, I'll do whatever to like make her happy, even if it's not me.
Yeah.
I also think the fact that Conrad made dirt bombs, which is Belly's favorite baked good. I really liked that detail. Again, it was very sweet how Jere like brought the Oreo cake, but I do think Jenny did that on purpose to show like
one will buy it, and one will make it.
Yeah, I think so. And I also think the fact that it like immediately brightened her mood once she saw that like Conrad is like on board.
That was so interesting to me. The fact that she wakes up from sobbing and she sees these messages on the phone that Conrad's going to be the best man, and that is what lights her up.
She ignores. She does not reply.
She just runs downstairs to see him. She immediately calls out his name. I mean, it's kind of concerning.
It is concerning. Also, like obviously Jere is like working as to help their wedding, but she's alone.
She's alone, and she has felt like no one's been really on board with this, except for Taylor came on board, but this is kind of like no family. And I think she's thinking Conrad's kind of family or whatever.
Absolutely.
But it's like oh my gosh, like someone who means so much to me is like supporting me, and that means the world.
And I also think, to be honest, I do think that she was so worried about Laurel's reaction, about everyone's reaction. I think she cared most about Conrad's reaction.
I think so too.
So the fact that he's obviously inside, he's like, I'm not supportive of this.
Inside.
But outwardly, him being like, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna support you. Like, I think that means the world to her.
Yeah.
Especially when other people, that she was hoping, are being a little bit more negative about it. So huge moment of sacrifice.
Huge moment.
Yeah.
I felt like that whole scene between them, and he's just so calmly washing the dishes.
I know.
And like cleaning up. And he comes across as so mature. The way that he takes their words that were making fun of him, and he's like ridiculously, he's like
able to take it. Yeah.
And he's able to take it. Yeah. And like he's like, they can make fun of me all night, but I'm gonna be like the bigger person here. And it's just really well done. Maybe we can delve into more of these contrasts between Conrad and Jeremiah now, because I just feel like like just that one scene of him. We haven't gotten a lot of Conrad in these 4 episodes.
No.
And I feel like every scene we see him, he just comes across as like so mature, so selfless.
Yeah.
Just
very thoughtful.
So thoughtful.
Obviously, I mean, for The Last Supper, the main detail that we have to talk about is the menu.
Oh my God.
And I knew this would be coming, but whoa.
Whoa.
I think it was very well executed.
Super well executed. And I feel like there's just so, like from that one tiny scene, so many things you can pull out.
So many things. And I think they get to the lunch after the garden memorial, and then Laurel is like, I'm going to cover this.
Yeah.
Which is also interesting.
I think she says lunch is on me,
Lunch is on me.
Don't even think about arguing. Lunch is on me.
Which is on me.
Which is a thoughtful thing. I don't know if this struck you, but I felt like such an Asian thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Asians are always fighting for the check, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just what you do.
Yeah.
And so
I thought that too. I
totally made sense.
Yeah. But then Adam is like, okay, then I'm gonna like order the most expensive thing on the menu, like internally, right? So he looks and he picks like the most expensive.
And I think for me, because I posted about this and it went kind of viral, and there's a lot of opinions coming in, and a lot of people are like, I mean, she offered to pay.
Sure.
You should be happy to pay for whatever they want to order. And I was like, I think that's totally legitimate. I think just the way he even phrased it, because she was like, lunch is on me. And he was like, well, in that case, I will order the surf and turf.
Yeah.
And it's like on the menu that is $75. And I think, I mean, just common courtesy, if someone's paying for my meal, I'm not going to order something that's crazy expensive.
Absolutely.
But just the way to phrase it of like, oh, because you're paying. I'm going to order something really expensive as a result.
Especially when we know that Adam is loaded.
He is
like,
loaded.
He has so much money. So it's like, okay.
Like, you could go get this yourself another time.
Yes. So that's a very annoying. And then you see Jeremiah, he proceeds to order the same dish without really even thinking about it.
And I've gotten a lot of comments about this too, because I thought pretty inconsiderate for Jeremiah to also order something super expensive. I feel like you see Belly's face in that scene, and she looks shocked.
Yeah.
You know?
In the book, she is she is also shocked. She's kind of like, I wish that he had thought more about it.
Yeah. And then a lot of people were saying, you know, maybe he's just trying to do the same thing as his
Impress
father.
his dad.
He's wanting to impress his dad, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I understand he has a lot of, you know, trauma around that, but he should care about Belly more.
Yeah.
And, like, should you be following the example of someone who's like that? Like,
no, exactly.
There's a difference between wanting someone's respect and like copying their actions, I think.
Yeah, totally. So Jeremiah also orders the most expensive thing on the menu.
I think technically, because I got comments about this too,
of the most.
It's the second most expensive. The steak is $100.
Oh, that's right.
I got it. Okay. But still, like, very, very expensive.
Very expensive. And then you see Belly. She proceeds to order, like...
She just gets an appetizer.
Yeah.
She just gets soup.
Yeah, she gets a tomato soup. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see Conrad. He gets, like, salmon, which is, like...
Which is the least expensive entree on the menu.
Yeah, and you can see that, obviously, it's, like, he also reads Belly's kind of...
language
and it's like, oh, actually they have more of that SP.
Yes, they do.
Where he's just like more aware. I think for Jeremiah, I really read it as like, one, I think, and it's in the book as well, where like I don't think he thinks that much about money matters.
I think he just is a little thoughtless about it.
It's a little thoughtless, but this is kind of why Belly's like, wait, we're like trying to do this on our own. We don't have a lot of parental support. I'm working. Like, we have to start to be more thoughtful and careful
and frugal.
She's basically like, in the book, she's like, I know it has to be different when we get married.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things too where you're like, if there's already a pattern of behavior, like you can't expect per se that like someone's going to change once you're married. So it's again kind of that Belly's perspective where like once we're married, like we'll be more mature and like things will magically like come together, and it's like not the case. So I saw it more as like, yeah, he was trying to follow his dad's lead. I don't think it was like so intentional that he was like, I'm not paying for this, so I'm gonna get something really expensive. But it's more the lack of him actually taking time to think. And
that's exactly what I thought.
One of his main character flaws is like he just does not take the time to like think about the repercussions. All the dynamics. Conrad, on the other hand, is like sometimes he overthinks. And this is why he doesn't say certain things that he should say. Because he doesn't want to like hurt people's feelings. But then it's like then you're not getting across even your own feelings. You know? So it's like so two different extremes. And I think a lot of people have said like it's trying to show that Jeremiah unfortunately is like maybe following the example of Mr. Fisher. Like Mr. Fisher also was like, you know, unfaithful. Then Jere.
There's a lot of parallels between them that are coming out, which I think are not good things.
Yeah, and it's also hard when like that is, you know, he was the father figure. That's how that's the example. You have to choose to be different. Then.
And Conrad has chosen that because he also had that same, obviously treated differently, and that plays a part. But I mean, he's had to face, you know, equally as difficult pressures and stuff as a result. As a chronic overthinker myself, I think I possibly overthink all of this, but I was like, for him to pick the least expensive option, I think it's so clear to me that Belly chose an appetizer because of the money.
Everyone knew, and like, then they were like, let's get the seafood tower. And you're like, awful. So her choice of getting the cheaper thing, it's all a moot point because now
you're already ordering this massive appetizer. But I felt like Conrad, at that point, is kind of like, I will try to compensate, like, to mitigate her, but not like to the point where it will maybe be questioned, like she was.
But, like, really smart, it's a savvy,
clever, like, put a lot of thought into it, which is very Conrad.
I know. So I think that was very well executed, and I think like the internet buzz around it has been quite funny. Like I've seen a lot of restaurants now like recreate where it's like the surf and turf, and then I think a lot of people I've seen some trends of people asking like their significant other, like if my parent was going to cover like a meal, like, and you had these options, what would you pick? And many times people are like, oh yeah, I would not pick like the second most expensive.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, I got a lot of comments of like, if someone's offering to pay, like they should be able to pay whatever. But I'm like,
that's
okay,
not the point of
that's not the point. The point is that on the other side, isn't it just common courtesy to be thoughtful about what you're ordering when you're not paying for it yourself? One thing if you are like, you know, doing it yourself. But if someone else is covering, I'm gonna pick the cheapest option. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting, I'm pretty sure in the book Laurel does not cover it. It's actually Mr. Fisher, I think, who covers it. So I think Jenny made this change to really get across this point.
Yeah.
But in the book, like, Belly is also uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think this is like make or break for someone's character? Of course not. But I think it's just to give us a bit of a window into some of Jer's lack of thoughtfulness sometimes,
and then Conrad's thoughtfulness.
Yes, and consideration. And then I think there's just some other pieces too where, he was cleaning, so organized.
Well, this is another thing. I felt like we got, as you pointed out in our last video, Conrad's furnished apartment. He looks so put together, organized, like it's a cozy, nice, habitable place. And then in episode 3, I believe, we see Jeremiah, you know, crashing on his dad's air mattress and it like deflated through the night. And I'm like, it's just obviously like he's a student still and, you know, living student life. But I think it's such a contrast of like someone who has their life really put together and someone who's, you know, crashing on an air mattress. And then I thought also the way that they presented themselves even at the memorial, you could see if you look at Jeremiah's outfit, his shirt is like so wrinkly and it's fine. It's not the end of the world, but it's just kind of another touch of, he's just throwing on an old shirt and like Conrad's coming in a suit looking like top notch, you know?
Yeah, I think these little details are really interesting.
Yeah.
I will say Jared gave a very nice speech.
He did give a nice speech. But it was a lovely speech and like good for him for writing it and following through and doing it. Like proud of you.
Yeah, but I agree. I think they put in a lot of these details to kind of show that again, they're not really ready, and that's fine, but no need to force it then.
Yes.
I think for the next episode with Conrad, we are going to get a little bit more of like his character exploration, which I'm very excited for. So I am interested to hear kind of what some of your predictions, thoughts about the episode will be. I will say, I think it will be called Last Promise. And I say that because I think we're going to get a scene that will be a flashback of him and Susanna when she's very ill. And it's when he's promising to take care of Jer.
Yes.
And I think we're going to get that because that is going to provide the insight as to why he has not been that open with his feelings with Belly. Because he's kind of like, I told my mom I was going to take care of Jer. Jer is in love with this person. They want to get married. Like, I have to support that. I can't go back on my promise on my mom's deathbed. So that is why my theory is it will be called Last Promise. But I'm interested in hearing.
That's a lot. Oh my gosh. I feel like the main thing that I have felt is coming in this next episode is I feel like I would like to hear a lot of like Conrad's inner yearning.
Yeah.
And just more of his inner thoughts of him kind of admitting to himself, this is how I feel. And despite that, like, this is what I'm doing and how I'm going to act for Belly and Jeremiah. But, like, this is the internal struggle and devastation that I am feeling inside. Because I think that will be just heartbreaking.
I think we'll get that. I think we'll get a flashback of the motel, and he's going to be kind of like, I lied. Like, when I told her at the motel, like, I was over and I was okay with it. But I don't really know how they will then feed it back in because I think we've seen in some of the photos or even in the trailer, it looks like Jer like comes back and they have dinner or something. With Conrad like still there. So I do think we're gonna get like another moment at the end where like he sees them together and he's kind of like, I gotta go.
And
it's gonna be, you know, that narration that's like so popular because actually Chris like did both Chris and Lola
for the
audiobook. And it's like it's the narration from the book where he's like, I'd rather have someone shoot me in the head and watch them cuddling or something. Some people have said they think the narration of the next episode will start with that. I'm wondering if it will end with that. Him and Belly are going to have a moment doing the wedding errands. Then Jared's going to come back and he's going to see them together again. And he's going to be like, oh, gosh. I'd rather not be here. And he's going to leave. And I think it's going to be him, like, leaving devastated. Remembering he has all these feelings, but seeing them together still.
Yeah,
but
I think you're right. And I think my only other, I have been surprised that we haven't had a Taylor song in the last 3 episodes. I mean, come on, Jenny, what are we doing?
Okay, so you're thinking there will absolutely be one.
I think there has to be.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, given the pace of Taylor songs that we got in season 2, I do think she saves Taylor songs.
Yeah.
And this, like, we are in a Jeremiah-centric kind of time zone at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm like, with Conrad really spearheading the next episode, I'm like, I think we've got to get something.
Okay, so let's hear your prediction.
Well, see, it's got to be something with a lot of yearning and pining.
Yes. Wait, I'm wondering if it's the same one that you're thinking.
I don't know, but I mean, I don't think this will actually happen, but I could hear something like August.
Oh, you think?
We already got it in a teaser trailer, so I don't think we'll get it again. But I just feel like even just the line like, you know, she wasn't mine to lose.
I know.
That idea, I think, fits really well.
I could see that.
And the sound of it, I think, fits really well. I don't think we'll get it. I think something like Treacherous could fit really well.
Treacherous.
Like, and I think that's even delving into, I don't know if we would start getting it quite yet, of like when the two of them start wedding planning and maybe some feelings start to come back or something. Yeah. I don't know. Something like that I think could fit in.
Okay, I was thinking I Almost Do could be really good.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of him being like, I want to tell you, but I can't yet. Oh, you know the thing that I really thought?
What?
Okay, if there is a Taylor song, if it's not I Almost Do, I feel like the last time, which is a top 5 Taylor song.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be really interesting because it has like Gary on it too. It has like the male
voice.
She had Exile previously,
she did.
Obviously. Ooh. So I'm like, I feel like if she picked a Taylor song, it would need to be one that's a collab with like a male vocalist.
Yes.
And I think the last time is like also really has that soundscape.
Yes.
That would work well.
Yeah. I don't know if she would do it because she already did Exile, but I think something like Coney Island could also work really well.
I think so.
Especially if things are from kind of Conrad's point of view and him kind of regretting not making her the priority when he had her kind of thing. Like regrets of the past could work.
Yeah. I think you're right. So I'm almost wondering if she would prioritize some of those like duets.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Last time would really. I've also thought like Last Time could even be the title of a future episode.
Yes,
but I don't think it would be the next one.
No,
I really think I'm putting in my
your prediction.
My prediction as Last Promise. But what do you think
for title? Oh gosh, maybe like Last Call.
Oh,
I feel like that could have a number of different meanings to it, like a last call. You know, if he has a flashback to Susanna kind of thing, that's like a recall. Okay. And then I think, I guess last call would make sense if there's like an important phone call or something. Yeah. But I'm thinking, because last call seems to be in line with Last Stand. Even like last call at the bar or last, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but maybe that would come later as well. I don't know.
I know. I'm trying to think because in some cases I think she's picking phrases, you know, that are like common phrases.
I think so. That have a lot of meanings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only one, Last Chance has not been one yet, right?
No.
So I think that would come way later.
I feel like that would be the confrontation at the wedding or something.
I think it'll be like second to last one would be Last Chance. Yes. And I do think, I'm also putting in my chips now, I think the very last one will be called At Last.
Oh my gosh,
don't you think?
Oh my gosh, don't you think? I'm gonna cry.
Oh my God. I would be really upset if she didn't do that.
Only if there's the epilogue with her and Conrad.
Yeah, of course. Don't you think? Because it's like, wait, I love because that. Didn't he use a song? That's why I was thinking that. Has he used like At Last or no? Maybe
Does she use it when they're at Cotillion?
I thought maybe. All I know is like, just to me, it feels so like future and like I think it would be cool if he flips it.
Girl.
But that's my only
team, if you haven't already named the episode, you've got your episode title already.
Yeah, I would like to see a Last Kiss, Last Chance, At Last, but I don't really know what else.
Yeah. Next episode is Halfway Point.
crazy.
So we're trundling along here.
We're trundling along, and I do think that the next one will be very meaty. I think some people have said these last two have been slower.
It is interesting.
Yeah, I think this one I heard will be longer.
Yeah.
And then Jenny has helped to direct it.
Yes, I heard that too. Did you notice that...
Oh, do you want to talk some Easter eggs?
Yes. Yeah. Good segue. Because I saw Belly's door in her house. There's like that poster with the 2 beach chairs, and one is red and one is blue.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So she has this, and it's like the 2 beach chairs. One is red, one is blue, which has very much been, kind of the 2 colors of the season. But then I thought it was very interesting that when they went surfing, Jeremiah's surfboard was red and Conrad's was blue.
I know. A lot of people have been talking about that. Yeah, and then it was like her bathing suit had both colors. So my read on it was like, it's just murky. All of the feelings are getting entangled this episode.
I think that's true. And then I don't know if you probably saw because you see everything. But Jenny Han did an interview, and someone even asked her, like, what was your thought process around these color things? And Lola even said something like, oh, I don't think you even mentioned that to us when we were filming. And Jenny Han basically says, we're playing with a lot of different color palettes this season. So I think she was basically telling us don't get too tied to these colors.
Still some reference. I mean, it's clear to me, like, the colors in general, I think, are still symbolic. I think people are probably getting so
too caught up in it
that, like, when it switches, I don't think that means the teams are switching or anything per se. But I do think that the colors are important. It was also interesting, like, the colors in the front of the house.
Yes.
They're starting to be mixed. So I do think some of it is important.
Yeah.
I just don't know how much she's trying to do red herrings too as well to throw us off. Because she knows people are so locked in. I saw another interview that was very concerning as well, where Jenny then said, like, there is one Easter egg I put in that fans are not too.
And I was like, wait, what is it?
I was like, what is it then?
In terms of other Easter eggs, one of my favorite scenes in both of these episodes was when her and Laurel are going through all of the photos, the photo albums, and I thought that was so sweet.
That was super sweet. And I really thought the Ed Sheeran song, Photographs, was going to be
that would have been an awesome song.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have loved that. But I thought it was very sweet. I really liked how we got the family photo that was also shown in the very first, introduction to the show, episode 1 of season 1. And I really liked then how she called back to that in their kind of family photo at the memorial, having them even in the exact same order.
That was really sweet.
I thought that was really sweet. I thought it was telling how in those photos of growing up, like, she had that photo on her wall of, like, her looking up at Conrad in that family photo. And then here, when they're taking this photo together at the memorial, like, Conrad very deliberately looks down at her, which is a nice contrast. And then she goes and looks at, like, both of them. So she looks at Conrad, and then she looks at Jeremiah. And that's another one of those, like, there's been all these kind of crossroads moments of, like, her choosing, and I felt like that was one of them. I felt like also the cotillion dress coming back around and her kind of being, like, looking at that dress as versus the wedding dress that she had just bought. Very interesting as well, of these, like, kind of checkpoints.
I think it's interesting. A lot of people have talked about how, like, in the poster, the dress that she's wearing looks different. It's also simple, but it clearly looks different cut, like a little bit of a V. So that's another question. And also the ring, it seems like in all the posters, it does seem to be a little bit larger, a little different. So this is also something to keep our eye on. I think another Easter egg that I saw was, I don't know, I think it's Belly back at Cousins, perhaps. She has the photo that she has, like, folded over where it shows her face, but then if you see the whole photo, it's actually Conrad at the top of the photo.
Whoa, wait, where is this?
I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah.
But it's like the fact that she still has that. It's either at home, and it might be at her home. And it's just still there, but it's just like the fact that it's, like, still there. Very interesting. So I think some of the photos, you're right. And I also, the moment, with Laurel and Belly, like, I thought that was very sweet before the memorial. I think I wanted a little bit more of, like, the attention to be placed on the fact that was like actually the Garden Memorial.
Yeah.
And so that scene was really important for that. Again,
yeah.
I did feel like it got quite overshadowed.
I think so too.
Which is like how it does occur.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, I think it was important to like have a moment for that.
Yeah, and I thought it was sweet, and I liked the flashbacks. I liked seeing Cameron for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was fun, like, throwback to her 16th birthday, especially
Cam.
right before the episode where we would get her 21st birthday.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice touch.
I hope we get Cam soon.
Yeah. I was like, at least, even if we don't get him for the season, at least we got, like, you know, this one little throwback. Very sweet.
Yeah. Cam was not the right one for her, but he was, I actually think he's the best of all. That's my hot take. He was the most.
I don't think it's that hot a take.
He's the most emotionally available of them
For
all.
sure.
Yeah.
For
Even
sure.
more than Conrad.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Conrad's got his issues for sure. But we love him anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was very sweet. And then I thought also even just bringing up that moment of, you know, bringing up the Conrad photo and her talking about carrots and how and how Belly kind of just used that to be like she always believed like everything
I know that
Conrad
he ever said. It's a throwback to like that pool scene where he's like, do you remember everything I've ever told you?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, she's been listening for years.
Yeah.
And just like
hanging on to every word.
Yeah, I think it helps to solidify like the time investment, you know.
Yes. Well, and I thought even Conrad's entrance was such a callback to his very introduction to the show. Like the same exact kind of slow motion, dreamy, like her world stops when he enters it.
Yeah. And she was clearly like distracted. Yeah. She was like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. So I thought that was a nice touch too of really these pivot points of when their lives have kind of changed, I guess. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think
I'm not prepared actually.
No. I feel like I've been longing to get more of Conrad all of these 4 episodes, and now that we're like on the precipice of it happening, I'm like, wait, I don't know if I'm ready.
It's very scary.
I'm afraid. Well, I think that's good.
Yeah.
For these episodes. Amazing. If you guys have any thoughts, questions, or reactions, predictions about these episodes and the upcoming ones, we would love to hear them, so pop them in the comments below. We will be back to discuss the next episodes, so if you're interested in hearing those, then we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, and thanks so much for coming along and chatting with us about the Summer I Turned Pretty. I enjoy our chats a lot.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
It's fun to debrief after, and there's a lot to cover and a lot to chat about.
So excited to watch more and hear all of your thoughts and theories as well.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time.
Catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.